Adults as well as children must trade truth, facts, and logical thinking for myths, UN values, and the consensus process. The masses must learn to see themselves not as individuals, but as part of a greater whole, a group, a community, the planet. You see, at the United Nations, they said the greatest enemy to mankind is the individual. That is the enemy. Finally, the United Nations is nearing its goal to create a unified socialist world made up of compliant world citizens, ready to adapt what Al Gore called a wrenching transformation of I'm Alan Watt, and we're cutting through the matrix, reading an article to do with the World Health Organization and all of its mental health agendas and so on to turn out good, compliant world citizens. And the last part was cut off there with the music. I never heard the music coming in. But it says, finally, the United Nations is nearing its goal to create a unified socialist world made up of compliant world citizens ready to adapt to what Al Gore called a wrenching transformation of society. And this goes on to say the World Health Organization, in 1946, the first head of the World Health Organization laid the foundation for today's mental health program, having implied that Christian parents indoctrinated their defenseless children, these are the words they used, with poisonous certainties, that was straight out of the communist system, that cause war and conflict. Canadian psychiatrist Brock Chisholm added, the problem is no longer the germ of diphtheria, but rather the attitudes of parents who are incapable of accepting and using proven knowledge, meaning science. Surely the training of children in home and schools should be of at least a great public concern as their vaccination. Individuals who have emotional disabilities of their own, such as guilt, fears, inferiorities, are certain to project their hates onto others. So if you have a disability or you're emotionally disabled in some way, of course they'll decide if you are or not. Or you feel guilty about something or you're afraid of something, you're going to hate. You're going to hate other people. You see? Now remember too, this is from the same establishment that did MK Ultra and took people and children in and subjected them to LSD experiments and gave them multiple shock therapy treatments on them to fry their brains. It's a much better way of loving you, isn't it? And through science, they must be loving you because they don't have any hate in them, apparently. Goes on to say here, we must be prepared to sacrifice much. If it cannot be done gently, it may have to be done roughly or even violently. That's page 10 from Brock Chisholm. Half a century has passed since Dr. Chisholm called for UN controls that would abolish divisive Christian uncertainties. Today, WHO commands, the World Health Organization commands, an international networking agency that helps nations around the world change and monitor the ways their people think, choose, and act. Called Nations for Mental Health, it links each member state to the UN agenda and promises to steer each nation toward the UN goal. And we know, of course, the UN goal is pushing one religion, this new earth-based religion where the scientists are the new high priests, and they'll tell us how to act and think and feel and behave in compliance with saving the planet and worshipping Mother Earth. And of course the UN itself says that the only religion which they promote is the Baha'i faith, which encompasses all of this, all of it. It says here, governments will be assisted to formulate, implement, monitor, and evaluate mental health policies. This is the Soviet system, because this is what they did in the Soviet system. Governments will be assisted to formulate, implement, monitor, and evaluate mental health policies. Mental health policies should enable all individuals whose mental health is disturbed, and they'll decide if it is or not, according to what you say, or think, or feel, or believe, or whose psychological balance may be compromised, to obtain services adapted to their needs, to promote the optimal development of the mental health of the population, the mass mental health again, which they've decided what it shall be. Well, that's it for tonight. I'm sorry I couldn't take callers, but I couldn't get anybody up on the show. So from Hamish myself, it's good night from Ontario, Canada, and may your God or your gods go with you.